This is Gemara Baba Basra Daf Yod Aleph, and we're holding on Yod Amid Beis. We are 5 lines from the bottom as the Gemara continues the last 2 words with Ifra Hormiz. Teaches the Gemara. I'd love to find the place. Here we go. Continuing the sugya of tzedakah, says the Gemara. Let's segue a little bit into the case of tzedakah being given by a non-Jew. Says the Gemara, Ifra Hor, who was none other than Imei de Shavar Malka, the mother of Shavar Malka, and explains the Gemara, what did he do? What did she do? I should say better. Shadra, she sent Arba Meya Dinare, 400 dinarin, like Haved Rav Hami. V'lo Rav Hami did not accept the donation. Shaminu Kamid Rava, she sent it to Rava v'kablinu. Misham Shalom Malchus, because of Shalom Malchus, to maintain the peace. Shama Rav Hami heard. Rav Hami, who was the first time who did not accept, Rav Hami heard an ikbid. He was makbid. Amar, he said, les lay. Biyavish Kitzira Tishaberna. Does Rava not hold of the pasuk that says, Nashim Bois Meira Isa? Says the pasuk, when the branches are withered, they're going to be broken, and the woman will come and set them on fire. So says Rav Hami, what is the reason why we're going to give the Goyim more Zchusim and accept tzedakah from them? The Rava Mishum Shalom Malchus, and Rava Lamaisa took it because of Shalom Malchus. Says the Gemara, the Avi Eskash of Rami Mishum Shalom Malchus. What about Rav Hami? Why didn't he hold of Shalom Malchus? Explains the Gemara, you know why? The reason is because he felt Rava should have given the money to Goyim who are poor, and thereby he could have accepted the money, but at the same time made sure that this Imei de Shavar Malka did not get the schusim of giving real tzedakah. Says the Gemara, in truth, that's what Rava did. Ravami deikbed, and the Ravizim Ravami was makbid, was wise. We turn over to Yud Aleph, Amid Aleph. The reason is the lahi Saimu Kamez. We find often in Gemaras, they didn't tell the whole story to Rav Hami. So he did not know that in actuality, this is what Rava did, and that's the reason why he was makbid. Continues the Gemara, Tanya. We learned in a brayso the top line of Yud Aleph, Amid Aleph, Amr Alav Abin Yamim Atzadik. Shaim Emuna al Kubat Tzedakah. There was a Yid B'Yamin Atzadik who was appointed over the tzedakah. Pamachas bas ish lavana v'shnei batzeres in the years of famine. Amr Aloi. She said, Rebbe Bar Neseni, Amr Lo Avaida. He made a shvur she'in b'kupa shal tzedakah klum. There's no money. What should I tell you? Amr Aloi. So she said to him, Rebbe, emenatam efarsenia reisha v'shiva banim eisim. Your wife and 7 children are going to die. Amad. So Binyamin got up, uparnesa mishalai, and gave her money from himself. Liyamim, in a few days, chalav and atalamos. A few days later, what happened? Binyamin himself got sick and he was about to die. Amru malachei shaz le'akadosh baruch hu. Rebbeinu shaloi lamata amre to you, Hashem said, Kol mekayim nevajachas me Yisrael. Kilukayim Olam Malis, if you sustain the whole world. But Yamanat Tzaddik, Shechia, Isha, Veshiva Banea. Yamanat Tzaddik, that sustained her and her 7 sons. Okay, I don't know if I read that right. She said that my 7 sons are going to die. I don't know if I read that correctly. I think I might have said that his 7 sons. She said my 7 sons. So said the Malacha ben Yamin that gave life to this woman and her 7 sons. Yamus Beshamim Ma'ates should die early. Halalu should die in these few years. Miyad Karla Gzar Dinai, the Gzar Din was ripped up, and Binyamin Atzadik lived. Tana, we learned in the Mishnah, Sivla Eser B'Shtayim Shana Al Shenaisav. He had 22 years left added to his lifetime due to this Maisa Tzedakah that he did. Tana Rabbanan continues the Gemara, 2 lines in the white lines. that he was mevazvez, he depleted his storehouses, and his father's storehouses, b'shnei b'tzayris. V'chavru alav ochev u'beis aviv, and his brothers and his father's family, bound together against him. V'amru lai, and they said to him, Avaisecha ganzu v'isivu al shel avaisam. And they said, your father had so much money, and he added to the fortune of their forefathers. V'atam evazuzim, and you're giving them all away. Amr lahem, responded Munbaz, that what? Avosai ganzu lemata vani ganazti, lamala, I'm going to amass a fortune in the next world. Shenemar, emes meretz hizvach v'sadim v'shemayim nishkaf. Avoisai, my fathers, ganzu b'makom sheyad sheletes by. They hoarded money in this world that to hand ruled. Vani ganaz makom sheyad sheletes by. Shenemar, says the Padik Sadiq Umeshva Machain Kizecha. Avoisai, my forefathers, ganzu davar sheinoise beirais, in a place that doesn't actually grow money on this world. Vani ganazti davar sheinoise beirais, nemar imru tzadiki toiv ki prima lehem yoichla avoisai ganzu oisris. Mamon. Avoisai ganzu oisris mamoin. Vana ganazti oisris nefasha. Shenemar prisadiki is chaim v'lokech nefesh chacham. Avoisai ganzu la'acherem ani ganazti la'atzmi shenemar v'chati etztaka. Avoisai ganzu la'elam hazeh ani ganazti le'elam haba shenemar v'holech lefanecha tzidkas kavod Hashem yosvecha. The incredible power of tzedakah, and how Munbaz HaMelech realized that power, and ultimately yielded his money for the right purpose, thereby allowing him the ultimate schar in the next world. We continue at the 2 dots, about 15 lines down, a few lines before the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Ve'im kana ba beis dira areu kancheir. If someone buys a dira in a city, he right away is considered like the people of the city, and therefore he has to pay for the expenses of the city that the Mishnah spoke about. Says the Gemara, Mas Nisan, Deloi Kirash Bag, the Tani Rav Shimon Gamliel Leimer, Imkana Ba Karka Kolshu. Says Rav Shimon Gamliel, if someone bought a little bit of land, Areu Kancheir right away, he's considered like the Ansheir. So the Mishnah is not like that, because the Mishnah said you have to buy a base dira. Yes, the Gemara, Tani Rav Shimon Gamliel, Imkana Sham Karka, Haruuya Le Base Dira Kancheir. Says the Gemara, trade tonight, I believe with Shimon Gamliel. That's the opinion of Shimon Gamliel, and the Mishnah holds you have to buy a proper base dira. We continue with the Mishnah towards the bottom half of Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. Ein cholkin es a chatzah achi arba amos lazeh v'arba amos lazeh. This brings us back to the Gemara at the beginning of the Masechta. They only have to split up a chatzah if after the split there'll be 4 amos for each person. Similarly, has to be 9 half calves for each. We don't split up a garden. Rav Akiva Omer, base Roiva, says Rav Akiva, it's enough if each one receives a quarter calf. Now the Mishnah continues with other properties that we divide. V'los a traklin, we don't split up a palace. V'los a moiran, nor a hall. V'los a shevach, a chicken coop. V'los a talus, a garment. V'los a merchatz, a bathhouse. V'los based about a half press. V'los a base shlachet, an irrigated field. Ache heba hen kedei lazeh kedei be enough for each person. What exactly that means, we will see. Zeh klal concludes the Mishnah. Kol sheyachalik u'shmay alav. Anything that you divide and it has your name on that part, cholkin, vimlavin cholkin. Emasai, bisman change shneim writes in, bisman shneim writes in, if they both acquiesce, afilu pachs mikan yachlaiku, any amount you're allowed to split up. V'kisvei hakaidesh, avish shneim writes in, lo yachlaiku, we don't split up, for the simple reason that by cutting up the kisvei kaidesh, that is a bazayon to it. Says the Gemara, about 20 lines from the bottom, Yud Aleph Amud Aleph teaches the Gemara. Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav Yechanan, Arba Amos Amru Chutz Mishal Psachim. excludes the area of the entrances. You need to have 4 amos aside for the area of the entrance, which was the area, of course, that they unloaded, they loaded the animals, etc. Tanami Achia Braisa Dorai, the Cholkin Esachot Sheba Shemana Amos Lazeh, Ushmana Amos Lazeh. I Vanantan Arbos Levaris Lazeh. We learn 4 amos. Shema Mina Kidiravasi. Shema Mina, they need to leave additional area, additional 4 amos in front of each doorway to be able to use for loading and unloading. And that is the reason why it says 8 amos in this brisa. Those who ask that as a steer to that. You don't split up a chatzah for amos to each. And on that, Amar Ravasi, Amar Rav Yechon, Arba Amos Shamro, Chutz Mishal Psachim excludes the entrances. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna. And this is reminiscent of a Gemara in Sukkah that we had. Chatzar mischalekes lafi pischa. Says Rav Huna, a chatzar is divided according to its openings, that each person, every opening gets its own portion. Rav Chisda Amar, Noisin Arba Amos, L'chol Pesach, L'chol Pesach, V'shal Chokim B'shaveh. Each Pesach gets Dalet Amos in front of it, like we just said, to load and unload. And the rest of the field gets split equally. Says the Gemara, Tani Gavaz, Rav Chisda, we have a right, Rav Chisda, we're 10 lines to the bottom. First one is Rav Chisda, teaches the Gemara. Psachim shebachatzi yishem arba amos. Halazeh pesach echad, halazeh shnei psachim, zeh yishesh lepesach echad notel arba amos, zeh yishesh shnei psachim, noitel shmoyne amos. If hashar cholkim b'shaveh, that's like the opinion of Rav Chisda. Haylo lepesach rochav shmoyne amos, noitel shmoyne amos, kineged pesach v'arba amos b'chatzer. Arba amos b'chatzer ma'evitayu, amar Abaye ochi gomer. So proving the din that we just said. Continues the Gemara 2 lines from the bottom. Continuing the discussion of the divisions of land, of karka, properties. Hi, Beira de Sufli. These peiros, these pits of an area with date stones. The owner gets 4 amos in each side of the pit in order to be able to take out the date stones and put them back in, etc. And says the Gemara, this is only if he doesn't miyachid one entrance to use to get into this pit area. As we turn over to Yud Aleph Amud Beis, says the Gemara, but aval miyachid la pischa. Excuse me, but if someone is miyachid one entrance to use, then says the Gemara, Ein lo yela arba amos, all he gets is the dalet amos by that Pesach, which is that door going into the pit. Lefnei Pesach, in front of his opening. Continues the Gemara, this that we're discussing, that there's a special din of dalet amos by your opening. Amar Rav Huna, Achsadra ein lo dalet amos, and Achsadra, a pavilion, an elevated porch, does not have a din. They get a special dalet amos front of the entrance. Taimamai, mishabir gmasai, hachashta da'el gavai umefarik. What's the reason you get the extra 4 amos is to unload your donkey? But over here, it's possible to go inside and unload it there. Therefore, there's no reason to give you an extra dalet amos in front of this area. Mas, if Rav Sheshes asks Rav Sheshes, echashari batim, echashari achsadrois. Says Rav Sheshes, the gates of houses, the gates of pavilions, they each send dalet amos, get dalet amos. Says the Gemara, we see clearly even an achsadra gets dalet amos. Answers the Gemara, Kitan Yehi, 8 lines at the top, Yud Aleph Amud Beis, B'achsadra devei Rav. Achsadra devei Rav, says the Gemara, Pshita. The achsadra devei Rav, which were completely enclosed, they use them permanently, so then of course you get dalet amos, says it's a regular enclosed area. Explains the Gemara, Duruna Ma'al Yehu. It's 4 rules, it's a regular room, so of course you get dalet amos. Ela achsadra room ma'isa. Says the Gemara, we're talking about a Roman achsadra surrounded by low walls, and therefore that's the chiddush that at some level is a rishos. So the chiddush is that you get dalet amos surrounding that area. Taner Rabbanan continues the Gemara, Beisar achsadra marpeset yesh lan dalet amos. A watchman's hut, a pavilion, a porch gets dalet amos. So chamisha batim psuchlim marpeset. There's 5 houses open up into one porch, more like a motel type of area. They all have doors into one porch area. Ein lahen al dalet amos bilvad. They all together share dalet amos at the bottom of the steps, because that's the one area that goes up into the porch. If someone has a lol shel tarnei goyim, a chicken coop, do you get dalet amos or not? Amar lei responds Rav Yanai. Time I was using a dalet amos from Piruk to unload your stuff. Masai hacham metavis v'oila metavis v'yeri. But in this case, the chickens run up and down, and therefore it doesn't bother them exactly how much space they have. Therefore, you would not get the special dalet amos. Continues the Gemara about 15 lines down. The first line is metavis v'yeri. B'minei Rava me'Rav Nachman. Bayis, a house. Chatzia mekura v'chatzia v'ena mekura. Half the house has a ceiling. Yesh lo dalet amos. Ayin loy dalet amos. Doesn't get its own dalet amos before the house. Amar lei. Ayin loy dalet amos. Why not? Loy mi bayikura milgav. Says now this is pashin in the case with if the covering was inside and the exposed area was into the chatzar. The afshad ayel legavai ubefarek. Why? Because you could go inside and unload the animal there. So that it's simple, you're not going to get these additional dalet amos. Elafilu karav klape chutz. It's still possible to go inside and unload if you don't get the additional dalet amos. Continues the Gemara. Pai mine Ravuna meravami. Ravuna asks the following shaila meravami echad bnei amavoy shabikesh lahachzir pischai lemavoy acher bnei mavoy ma'akvin alav oy ein ma'akvin alav. If one of the people inside a mavoy does not, he wants to give away his opening, he wants to give it away and allow someone else usage, because the people in his mavoy object to such a move or not. Amar lei. So Ravami responds, B'nei mavoy ma'akvin alav. The B'nei mavoy could prevent him because the mice is going to their personal mavoy. Achsanya lefi b'nei adam. Says Ben Achsanya, which are areas that the soldiers of the army grab to live in. Fi b'nei adam is chalekes, are divided amongst the number of people that are inside each building. Ay lefi psachim is chalekes, or according to the entrances. Amar lei lefi b'nei adam is chalekes. It goes by the people. Tanami achi zevel shabachatz is lefi psachim according to openings. But achsanya, those areas that are housed for soldiers, lefi b'nei adam, go by the people that live there. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rav Huna, teaches Rav Huna. Echad mimei mavoi shebikish listim keneged peschai. One person has an opening into the mavoi and he wants to close up his opening. B'nei mavoi makvin alav shemar ben Allah alein as a derech. Can the b'nei mavoi, they're able to prevent him? Why? Because if they close up that area, then they're going to have a longer route. Therefore, they're able to be ma'akev to prevent him. So Meisvei asking, Chamish chaseros b'sichos l'mavoi, if 5 chaseros open into one mavoi, they could all use the final opening because that's the end of the mavui, and he used it by himself. And the rest of the courtyard, mishtameshes im shniya, with the second outermost, vashniya mishtameshes vashniya mishas la'atzmai, or mishtameshes v'chitzayna. Nimseis penimius mishtameshes la'atzmai. The innermost works by himself, his own area over there. Mishtameshes im kolachs v'achas, and uses everyone else's. Tanoi. So that's a kasha. So asks the Gemara, what do we see? We see that when you have a mavoi, you're only able to deal with the area that you have rights to, but you can't demand anything in the rest of the mavui. The kasha is on Rav Huna, who said that everyone in the mavui, even those that have nothing to do with this door opening, could protest him from making an opening anywhere in the mavui. Why is that true? It seems like you're not able to have an opinion. Explains the Gemara. With this we conclude. Tanoi did Tanya Achmei Amavi Jabikish Lachzer Pesach Lamavi Acher. Name of Imakvin Love. Hayasasam, if he closed it a Bikish Pesach, he wants to open it up. Aim name of Imakvin Love. Divi Rabbi Shimon Lazar Imer. Chamish Chatzeros Abzichus Lamavi Kulam Mishamish Lamavi Zu Imzu. Chatzeros Man Dechar. Excuse me. Zu Imzu. And that's the end of the teretz. Says the Gemara. Chatzeros Man Dechar Shmaya. Who mentioned anything about Chatzeros? Says the Gemara, Chasuri Mechzar Vachi Kitani, we're missing details. L'chein Chamish Chaziris Absuchais Lemavoi. 5 Chaziris that are open into the Mavoi Kulam Mishtameshes Imachitzaina. They all use the outside one. Vachitzaina. Mishtamesh Latzma V'chul Divi Rabbi Bar. Shimon Elazar Aymer Chamish Chaziris Absuchos Lemavoi. Kula Mishtameshes B'Mavoi. So says the Gemara, that which you just had as a kasha is indeed a machlekes Tanoim. We'll pick it up from the bottom over here on Daf Yomi Beis B'Siyata Dishmaya.